Good morning, I'm Mark from our Homemade Garden Centers, and today we're going to tell you how to prep your yard for the upcoming fall season. There's a lot to be involved and so forth. So what we're going to do to start with is whether you have yourself a nice maintainer rake like this, is what I really like to use, or possibly have your yard aerated. We want to stir up all that thatch that's down in your yard from the past mowing season and so forth. So make sure you really get all that thatch up using this maintainer rake, so that when we go to overseed for the season, it can drop down into the soil. Another reason that I like to use, possibly have your yard aerated, is that so in our area around here, our soil is a lot of clay, very compact. And if we put down gypsum after your yard is aerated, it's going to help loosen that compaction, which not only helps for better root development with your grass seed, it also helps the nutrients in your fertilizer do what they need to do. So first step is to, like I said, make sure you get your yard aerated real well, or rake it up really nice with the maintainer dethatching rake. There are a couple nice grass seeds that I like to see to be used. One of them is our Marble label. This is a nice tall fescue narrow blade grass seed that is high traffic tolerant, disease tolerant, can be sun or shade, and doesn't need the moisture so much as you would your bluegrass blend. It's all Midwest developed for our yards that are around here. We had it tested to be developed for our Midwest soils. And on the back of it, it'll tell you the blends that are in there. One thing nice about our label is that the inert matter that's in there, the filler matter, is very, very low compared to your box stores that are around here as well. And make sure you read those labels so you know that difference. And on the back of the label of our bags, it'll also tell you the coverage per square footage for a new lawn, and then overseeding as well. So make sure you know those matters as well. It's a very, very good grass seed. Like I said, it's drought tolerant, it's disease tolerant, it's sun or shade tolerant, and high traffic tolerant. And it just wears very, very nicely. If we were to have a drought unlike this season, yes, your yard would go dormant, but as soon as we get that first rainfall, or as soon as you first start watering, that yard will drain up just very, very, very nicely. Another nice blend that we have is our bluegrass mixture. This is the plush, this is the Cadillac that you can go out there and walk in your barefoot and so forth. It's a nice sunny mixture. We also have a nice sunny shade mixture of bluegrass blend. The thing with that is it comes more care, all right? So when you use your bluegrass, we have a lot more care where we're fertilizing a little bit more often, we're watering a little bit more often, and with that sometimes we can have a lot of disease like we've had this season with all the moisture that we've had. We're starting to see a lot of brown patch in our yards with the bluegrass, and so then we have to take precautionaries in how we can cure that disease that's in our yard. But it's a very, very good bluegrass blend. Here again on the back of our label, it tells you the square footage per overseeding or bare yard. Make sure that after you've thatched, you've aerated, you've used your gypsum to help control that compaction that's in your clay soil, that we're going to fertilize. We're going to use a new lawn seed fertilizer. And this is a nice one by Bonide. It's phosphorus in there. So what the phosphorus does is help strengthen that root system so that it germinates properly and the roots take really good development. So that can go right on top of once you lay your grass seed, same time, same day, and then just make sure it gets watered in nicely. With your grass seed, once you've sowed it, it's important that we keep it damp daily. The germination rate for both the Marble, the narrow blade tall fescue, and our bluegrass blend is approximately 21 days, so that's 3 weeks. So we need some nice moisture on there so that those roots, that seed can develop and those roots can do what they need to do. So make sure we keep it well. Probably I would say 10 minutes a session in your yard daily, and then once you see that germination sprout up, then you can back off on your moisture. Fall is a great time to be overseeding. Our soil temperatures are wonderful, they're nice and warm, and a little bit more moisture, and it's a little bit cooler, so you're not having to water as much. Then once your yard has developed, and I'm going to back up just a little bit. Before you apply all your grass seed, I'd make sure you mow it a little bit shorter than you have in the past season. Usually we should be mowing our yard about 3 inches, which is the highest on your mower deck. I'd back that down to 1.5 to 2 inches so that we can make sure that grass seed makes contact with the soil and gets down in there if we're not raking up really well and so forth. And then I always like to, you can either use a hand spreader that you put your grass seed in, or you can use your drop spreader that we have to put our fertilizer down, or our soil conditioner down. Just make sure you set it on a low setting on your fertilizer spreader. Approximately, I like to use 2 or 3. More is not typically better with grass seed, because that grass seed is going to sit on top of grass seed and it's not going to make contact with that soil temperature. So just make sure it's a nice low setting and it spreads out there evenly, so it's not laying on top of each other. And then I always like to make sure once we get that grass seed started and it germinates, then when we're going into our fall season, right now we're into September right now, I'd make sure we put a new our fall lawn food that's on. Here again, it's a little bit higher in phosphorus. We got our nitrogen in there, but our phosphorus is going to help that root development over the winter months, which is the most important. It's probably one of my favorite of all our lawn program fertilizers, because it helps strengthen our roots for that next spring season. And then once in a while, we still have a few bad guys in our yards. Our weeds are still there. They've really popped up this season with all the rain that we've had. As we move into our fall season and our dormancy season, the roots are taking, the plants are taking all that energy into their root system. So if we use a weed control, it's going to knock that weed down a lot better, because it's going down into the root system as it's going into dormancy. There's a couple plants right now, a couple weeds right now that are really going to pop up, and that's one is Creeping Charlie, and I love to use super brush on that. We're going to recommend 3 to 4 ounces to the gallon of water. We're going to spray, and then the most important thing is that we're going to spray 7 to 10 days afterwards. You're going to see that effect of that contact kill on that second spray, so that's very, very, very important. And then Total is another great weed control that we use the fall season. There's a lot of spurge that's out there this season, and crabgrass is out there really heavily this season due to all the moisture and the rain that we've had. So both of those, when applied properly with the right control, is going to knock down those weeds that are in your yard for the fall upcoming season. One important tip that we should be using when we're overseeding and spraying weed control, let's not use them at the same time. What I would recommend with our guests is that let's get rid of the bad guys first. Let's go out there and knock down our weed control, and then we can overseed. We have a lot of time to overseed. Typically, I tell folks to get your grass sown by that 3rd week in September, because we have a lot of time for that to germinate, and we have a good moisture that's coming up in cooler season. So get rid of the bad guys first, then let's overseed, and you got plenty of time for this fall season.